Hello, hello. Happy Saturday. Welcome back to Moms for Justice. I'm Carolyn. It's so good to be here with you all. I was really looking forward to this one. Nice Saturday afternoon break. Hopefully, we'll get some peeps on here today. Yeah, so I'm going to try to do more like afternoons, some lunches every now and then, and an occasional Saturday. I thought that would be really cool so that everybody has a chance to pop on and we can chat. Good morning. How are you all? Thank you so much. I am praying these ISOM interviews are a decoy. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that today again. Hey, Kirk, how are you? Hi, Clarissa. Knowing Samantha says Wendy is going down, she is truly, in my opinion. Hello, K-Love. How are you? If you guys hear my dog, you might hear my dog today. Barking, crying. It's been nonstop. So my husband's in the garage cleaning it out finally after like 3 years. And he's got a bunch of guys over, and my dog has anxiety no matter how much we have tried to relax him. It doesn't matter. He flips out. So he's been on and off with the whining and the crying. He's a big old 100-pound lab. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start. This is about the interviews with Detective Craig Isom and mentor lawyer. Now, I was on here the other day about the first part because he's dropping them in parts. And yeah, so, and to say I am disappointed is an understatement, okay? Because now I'm really, really frustrated. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you, Miss Marple. Thank you for the great coverage and spilling all the tea. I try. Thank you so much. Okay, so, and we got Janine on today as moderator. I'm trying this for the first time. I'm not a pro at this. Basically, I mean, I don't mind if you guys, throw a curse word here and there, but like, if you're like offending anybody or you're saying something really horrible, she's just going to zap you off because that's not good for the channel. And we all want to get along, right? And then just acknowledge anybody with the, with a sticker or a chat, Janine, if you can. That'd be really awesome. And then if you have a question for me, probably more later on, I'll be able to answer that because I'm going to go through my notes here. All right, so check it out. So like I said, I'm really disappointed in the Isom interview part 2. I had really high hopes for Craig Isom, and it's just going downhill now for me. So I watched it, and there are some real red flags I'm seeing. And first, why the original thing was, well, why come out with an interview at all? Like, it really set me off. Like, I was like, hey, why? You've been silent all this time, and now that Donna's trial is over, why all of a sudden are you coming out with an interview? It's almost like, well, we don't have anything on anybody else, so now I'm just going to start, delivering all the info I have. It just kind of bummed me out. Somebody did ask on the part 1 video of Mentor Lawyer's video, hey, they caught on to the same thing too. In fact, all of you are catching on to it and are all concerned, right? And Mentor Lawyer said, and I want to just make sure everybody knows that he said that Detective Isom was not going to talk about certain areas. So that gave me hope, right? So that gives me hope. But still, it bothered me that he would come out with that. So, I mean, how could Georgia be okay with this interview coming out if there were still possible indictments along the way? So, what if she watches the interview and she wasn't asked or nobody told her? I don't know. I guess we'll never find out. So here's the other thing. What if Wendy watched Detective Isom's interview with Mentor Lawyer? Does that give her an advantage? I would think it would. She's going to know what he's thinking. She's going to know it just makes me sick to my stomach that she could watch that and think, oh, he's on my side, right? So that really bothers me. So mental lawyer stated in a comment that he did refuse to go into certain areas. So that is the only good thing I got out of part 1. Now, part 2, actually, let me recap part 1 real quick. I won't go into crazy detail because I already did this the other day, but just, he talked about how they tracked her down, starting with the utility bills that were found at the scene. They had Wendy's name on it. She was the only name on it. Dan Markel wasn't even on the utility bills at all. And this doesn't negate the fact that they were on alert when they saw her magically appear at the crime scene tape, right? It's just, that was like roughly 90 minutes after this shooting. And a lot of moving parts were happening with this crime scene. So what Detective Isom might have known at the scene might have been different than what another investigator or another police officer could have known at that time, because it was moving so fast. This whole day was moving so fast. So, all right. So he then explains the other day that he went to Market Street and finds her van in the parking lot of Mosaic. He goes inside. He asks her to come with him to the station. And he stresses the importance of not giving out details to Wendy at all, not to give out too much information, because it's important to take them back, get them into a comfortable interview room so that it can be recorded. I mean, God forbid she says something while she's at Mosaic or in the car and it doesn't get recorded, right? So that was a good thing. He shouldn't be doing that. But with all that, it proves a huge lie that she told at Donna's trial when she testified she heard he was shot when she was inside the vehicle with Detective Isom. So that pretty much confirms that, squashes that. That was a lie. Why did she lie? There's a lot of theories out there about why she could have lied about that. It also could just be a big old oopsie, right? I mean, Wendy makes mistakes. She's a human being. She could have made a big mistake, I mean, it's just crazy. So, all right. So the two things I got out of that were said was your children are okay. And this situation involves your ex-husband. There is no mention of someone being shot, someone being killed, someone being beaten up, somebody's alive or dead. All that is never mentioned, and that is so important to know. It just said that the situation, why we're coming to get you and bring you to the station, only has to do with your ex-husband. There was nothing else offered to that. Thank you so much, Mo the Law. I love your name. Thank you so much. So thanks for doing this on a Saturday. So appreciate your channel and insights. By the way, your hair looks fabulous. Thank you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Okay, so part 2 was finally put up, and I watched it yesterday. And it just goes wah, 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 wah from this. I mean, like I still was like, okay, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe, the red flags I'm feeling from part 1, they'll go away. Surely they're going to go away, and he's going to say something great, and I'm going to feel really good about the whole scenario with Isom and Wendy. There's my dog. But no, it goes downhill very, very fast for me. So he opens with that he never put aside that it could be Wendy. Okay, so that was good. He confirmed that there was no other relatives in Tallahassee for Dan, and because Wendy was the only one available and considered the next of kin, he very much needed to keep her talking. So he wasn't going to, I got this sense like he was so busy trying to get info from her, they didn't even have time to consider her a suspect, right? So Wendy was the best he had to work with at that moment. And I get that. By the way, some people keep saying that they think he got to the restaurant at 2:15. No, in part one, go ahead and rewind it. He got there at 1:15 for sure. Which means she had no time to eat a lunch and barely any time to even talk to her friends. So he finds out at the station that she drove to the crime scene tape. He did not know until he got to the station, he says. By the way, this is also huge, like many different opinions about where the crime scene tape was confirmed in this part 2 interview. It was 2 to 3 driveways away. And I'm not patting myself on the back, guys, but I had put out a video about it, and it was 2 to 3 houses away. Officer Brannon, who is the guy at the crime scene that saw her van pull up, he sees her. He's curious as to why. Isom, at first, when he hears this, was suspicious, but then Wendy said she was going to go to the liquor store and take a shortcut when he asked her about it. So he's suspicious, and he asks her about it, and she says, well, I was going to a liquor store, and I took a shortcut. I'm sorry, right there is the first one. I was like, how is that sufficient of an answer? Oh, okay. You're going to a liquor store 9 miles out of the way, and you just happen to take the shortcut to reminisce about your old life with somebody that you can't stand. You hate this man. Why would you drive down the street just because you want to, relive your past? Why didn't he see that? I don't understand why he didn't see that. I really don't. And that is just the biggest crock of crap. He said the speed bumps, he did say the speed bumps does not make it a shortcut. So he gave us that. But he did talk about the fact that Wendy felt it was therapeutic to drive down the street. And I'm just like, what? And here's something else to think about, guys. She was scheduled to go get her kids at 4:30. Why couldn't you do your little reminiscing at 4:30? Why did you need to drive there at that time when you're running late? You didn't even have time to shower. You could have showered. You could have taken your time and stayed at your house longer and showered and gotten ready, right? You also could have saved yourself time by going to a liquor store near Mosaic. So think about how asinine that sounds. That makes absolutely no sense. So, I don't know. Isom should have been like right then and there, left the room. I would have left the room if I was an investigator, and I would have said, I'll be right back. I would have gone into another room and go, we got a problem. This girl is making no sense. Her reasoning for this out-of-way trip makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, right? So, but he seems to have bought this excuse. With caution, but he's buying the excuse, which is not okay for me, and I doubt it's okay for you, right? So, again, he keeps going on like, I just wanted as much information as I can get from her. I just wanted to keep her talking. Okay, all right, but keep in mind, you might have a cold-blooded killer on your hand in front of you, and he's like completely ignoring all these things she's saying that make absolutely no sense. Then she digs in her purse for receipts, and she makes keys for all her friends and says, I made them recently, because these are receipts that are in her purse from recently. This isn't like a year ago. To cover my bases, I made a bunch of keys. No, this just so happens to be before the murder of your ex-husband. You're making a bunch of keys for your friends. So why make the keys? Well, I kind of went through a theory. There's a second theory, but one theory is she knew the murder was going to happen. She knew she'd be stuck at a station. She could have also thought, I might get arrested too, because they might catch me. And then my kids are going to need access to Aqua Ridge Way. They're going to need access to all their things, their clothing, And then the other thing is she might have thought she was going to get away with this and pretty quickly would go down to Miami, and those keys would be in the hands of all her friends so they could help facilitate her move out of Aqua Ridge. I just, how is that not a red flag, people? What do you guys think? You know, he said something along the lines of, I could have challenged her on these things, but I chose not to because I wanted to keep her talking. I realized that because it ends up being that later on when he tries, she leaves like right away. That memorial happens for Dan, and then she's already in the car, and he had made it known that he wanted to speak to her again. He calls her, and she's actually on her way. She's on her way back to Miami for good. We find out it's going to be for good. And when he gets on the phone with her, she pretends, allegedly pretends, like the reception on the phone is going bad. And, it's like, oh, I can't hear you anymore. The whole, sorry, I can't hear you anymore. And the call gets disconnected. And what do normal people do when that happens? Come on, guys. You pick up and you call right back. And you say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that happened. And then if, or can I call you later when I get in a better area? She did none of that. She never called him back, and she never called him again. So he's right that the interview was an opportunity of like a golden opportunity, because it was the only time it's all we have of her speaking. So I get that. And she's cooperating. But that interview is going to end at some point, right? And if you are looking at the inconsistencies and the ridiculous excuses she has and the red flags that are going off, why wasn't he on this from after she walked out of the interview? Like, I really feel like they dropped the ball now. And I was like giving him the benefit of the doubt. I've had so many of you amazing people telling me Isom is this, Isom is that. He didn't do a good job. And I was like, let's wait and see. Well, now I agree with you all. I do. Because he is just totally, he couldn't even remember statements from other officers. So the Janine thing, she came into the station that day, later on in that day, and they interviewed the Geek Squad. And he talks about that, oh, well, I didn't interview the Geek Squad. Another investigator interviewed the Geek Squad. So Mentor Lawyer says, well, what happened in that interview? And I was absolutely floored and completely shocked that he was like, oh, I don't know, I'd have to go back and get that report and read it. This is the biggest case of your entire career, right? How we YouTubers and all of you know this case better than Detective Craig Isom. How does he not know it like the back of his hand? He should be like, boom, this is what he said. No. I was really disappointed. Talk about lazy. Talk about dropping the ball. And you know what? If it's not that, then the only thing left we can assume is that you got some sort of, pity party for Wendi Adelson. Or you like her in some way, or she charmed the pants off you the way she's charmed the pants off of so many people and have played them. But you would think with Isom being the one who interviewed Jeff Lacasse, okay, so you do Wendy, right? You talk to Wendy and you're still not convinced, apparently. But then Jeff comes in and says everything that Jeff says, and you think that would be like, all right, yeah, something's wrong with this girl. No, he didn't. How is it that we are here? How is it that Detective Isom is now talking and he's just like, that's the impression I got. Just whatever, an afterthought about the idea of her being involved in this crime. I'm just so angry and disappointed. All right, maybe not angry, just more like sad. It's just so sad. All right, so back to the beginning of the interview. She is listening to the messages on her phone. And when he comes back in the room, at that point, he says that's when he had found out that she doesn't live at Trescott anymore. He knew about the divorce, and it was also Dan's day to drop off the kids at Creative Preschool. They had also made a call to Creative Preschool, or an investigator went over there and confirmed that Danny was the one who signed in the kids that morning. Oh, and by the way, I just want to say, who here, I shouldn't have said, it makes me feel like icky when I say Danny now. Because ever since Jackie Fulford started referring to him as Danny, I feel like, ooh, it's disrespectful to call him Danny now, because she just totally shamed. She just should have never gone there, right? Do you guys agree with me on that? Really saying, like she knows him, they go way back. She's his long lost aunt, and she's like, Danny. And now I'm like, ew, I don't want to say Danny anymore either. What do you guys think? Are you guys I'm just going to say Darren Markell. I just can't believe I just slipped and said Danny. And now I'm like, ew, all I think about is Jackie Fulford. Guys, Moms for Justice mug. It's in my store. Okay. So, I'm sorry. I lose my train of thought a lot. So Wendy was concerned about her kids in the interview and also at Mosaic. That was he makes a point of that. Now, here's another red flag for me. Why wasn't she concerned about her kids when she's driving down to the Truscott? Now he's and I'm again, disappointed in Isom, right? Really? I mean, now she cares where they are? Why didn't you care before? Makes absolutely no sense. And you know what? If something doesn't make sense, it is not true. It just isn't. So, Isom said that, when it came to what do you think happened to Dan? He said, I pondered that it could have been road rage or maybe a disgruntled law student. And her reactions to that were not surprising at all at that time. Okay. So he was just like, she's genuine. I saw real tears. Okay. All right. So maybe she had tears. I mean, you know what? We got to give her that. If he saw tears, her cheeks were wet, he said, right? So there were tears. So either there was a genuine feeling of emotion that caused tears. It's not unheard of to, and again, I don't have firsthand knowledge of this because I am not, some psychotic murderer, but have heard interviews with other murderers that have said that they have gone through with a killing or the planning of a killing, and it did make them cry because, maybe in Wendy's case, it's like the father of my children are gone. You know what I mean? And that is something that, I'm sad about, but my desire for getting rid of him and what I wanted to do in my life, which was relocate to Miami, outweighed the tears I have about the kids losing their father. So, yes, crying could have happened. And apparently, according to Isom, it did. So he said that even though she was being recorded in the room the entire time, he was asked, was a detective in another room somewhere in a room with the computer up, that kind of a thing, watching her at all times. And he confirmed, yes, there was somebody watching all those, those really nauseating, panting and moaning that she was doing. It was really uncomfortable. And the blowing her snot into a million tissues. Yeah, somebody was watching all that. Where's that guy? Because you know what, Isom, I'm sorry, dude, but I would rather talk to the guy that was watching her. Maybe he has caught on to what we all have. And yeah, right? So he was watching her from the other room. And they were looking at body language. They were looking at her breathing, her eye movement. He says the eye movement is really important. So then Mentor Lawyer goes on to play her testimony about the celebration dinner. And I don't know why he went there because he never ended up asking a question about the celebration dinner. But then it went into the voicemail from the real estate agent. They leave her the voicemail, her hearing that this woman called and said, hello, my friend. I was just coming down Truscott. I heard there was a shooting. So at that point, Wendy knows that there could be a shooting involved, right? Again, Isom did not tell her that Dan was shot yet at this point. So he comes in the room to begin the official interview. And he says, who is that? And she said, I just got a call, and they said they think there's a shooting. Okay, guys, right there. We watched that video, right? When she's listening to the call from her real estate friend, it's played. You can hear her saying, I'm worried, I heard there's a shooting on Trescott. Why in that very moment, even before Isom walks back in the room, why isn't she, while listening to it, being like, oh, what, a shooting? Oh my gosh. And immediate tears, because even if it wasn't Dan, somebody getting shot is a horrible thing. And then to think that it happened on the very street that you used to live on, or even worse, the street that your children woke up at that morning. Why aren't you immediately concerned? She's still acting like she doesn't know squat at this point. So that is very interesting to me. So she plays it for Isom. And then that is when he says, and the first time he tells her that there was a shooting. And she does her whole yada yada crying, right? Oh my gosh, the whole thing. So I'm not even going to attempt to act her out, guys. But it's the first time he says it. And Dan was taken to the hospital and won't survive. Well, in that right there, boom, right there, nothing more needs to be said. First thing is, I need to go be by his side. I shouldn't be here right now. I need to go. She didn't ask about him. She didn't say, can I go visit him? She didn't say, I need to get the kids to their dad's side. Nothing. Zilch. Zippo. Nothing. And why didn't he, instead of going around, a good investigator wouldn't say, oh, he's not going to make it. He would leave the open-ended idea of he's just in the hospital and he's alive right now, because that is what it was. He was alive at that moment. So if you want to rule out that the spouse, which is the first person everybody thinks about, if you want to rule out that they are not involved, that is the most important thing to do, is to not give them all the info. And because if Wendy killed him, right, it would not be beneficial to her for him to be still alive and have the possibility of still being able to make it. So Isom should have sat down and said, and analyzed her, and sat back in his chair and said, Danny's been shot and he's at the hospital. He's alive right now. That's what should have been said. And then watch her squirm, right? Watch her, because if Wendy's involved, and most of us believe she is, this whole thing would have been different. Her reaction to that would have been so different. He ruined it. He basically said, oh, he ain't going to make it, because we all know there was no chance, no snowball's chance in heck that he was going to survive that. And he made that known to her. So she was safe. She was safe at that moment. She's gone, great. This is great. Again, all this is my opinion. It is speculation. Again, I am making sure that I'm clear with all of you that these are just my ideas. It's not the gospel, okay? So anyway, it just makes me so mad. It really does. So that was his biggest blunder in this whole thing, in my opinion. Not good detective work at all. He basically ruined the case when he did that. So she cries. She does her crying bits, right? By the way, guys, now we listen to this interview a lot, right? The Wendy interview. And I don't know about you, but I always pick up something new I never heard before. And I'm not perfect. I think I know that interview, and then I play it again and I find something I didn't know. I had no idea that she stated the boys broke the TV. And it's probably something you guys all know, and I'm just a dummy and I missed it. But I didn't know that she claimed the boys broke the TV. And let's talk about how convenient that is, because they are at such a young age, they're not going to be able to recount it. So of course she's going to say the boys broke the TV. It just cracks me up, this girl. Hold on, let me take a sip of my cough. You guys got coffee today? Moms for Justice coffee? Okay, so she describes her trip to the crime scene. ABC. She gets gas. She gets gas and goes to Mosaic. Again. Oh my gosh, she's so late. She's running so late. She's rushing. You could have stayed home. You would have had time to take a shower if you had gone the normal route. It cracks me up that like no one's making a big deal out of this over at the Tallahassee Police Department. Oh gosh. So he asked, I think he asked Isom. Wait a minute. Oh, Isom went on to say that he didn't try to trick her in any way. Oh, of course not. Of course not. Well, you're supposed to trick when you're an investigator. You're supposed to plant seeds and hope that they bite or, throw out the bait. He's like, I didn't try to trick her. Well, then you're a lousy investigator because you're supposed to trick them. Where it's legally can be done, you're supposed to trick your person in front of you. Her reaction was genuine to him. Okay. The real tears, right? So mentor lawyer asked him, did you ever change your mind on any of this? And he said he was suspicious as he learned about her family. And when he attempted to interview her again, she disappeared. So there's that. Mentor lawyer talked to Isom about her mentioning that she went to the crime scene at the station and never mentioned it at Mosaic. Okay, so this is another huge red flag. Not only does she go to the crime scene, but she gets to Mosaic. She shows up. She sees two close friends, right? First thing out of her mouth is not that she just came from Trescott and there was tape and police everywhere. Nope, nothing. Zippo. But guys, have you thought about this? When he showed up and he said, you need to come with me, Wendy. I got to bring you to the station. Something has happened. Your kids are okay. It involves your ex. First thing out of her mouth should have been, I just went down that street. I was just there. Nope. She doesn't bring it up until she is in the interview room. That is a red flag, right? I mean, why not bring it up right away? So Isom agrees that he thought about that, but she appeared, I love his reply here. He had said, I thought about the fact that she didn't bring it up right away. And it is suspicious. He goes, it is suspicious. But he thought about it, and it appeared, the way she said it when she was in the interview room was that it appeared like it just dawned on her. And sometimes that, like and I'm paraphrasing, that some people, they just, things just dawn on them later, almost as if that was acceptable. Well, yeah, it dawned on me that I didn't get milk at the food store. It dawned on me that I forgot to get gas in my car when it was low, and I pulled in the driveway before stopping at the gas station on the way home. It doesn't dawn on me that I just went down my ex-husband and my former home and saw crime scene tape and police everywhere. That's not something that just dawns on you. Yeah, that's in your mind from the minute you see it for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, maybe even the rest of the year, depending on what ended up happening, which she didn't even try to find out. You didn't even try to find out. So, I don't know. Makes no sense. And if it doesn't make any sense, it is not true. Who am I quoting? I'm quoting Judge Judy because I just love that broad. She's amazing. Okay, so he's basically, with all that, saying that she is upset and her mind is just checked out. That's what I'm getting from that. But in hindsight, it is a red flag. And you could also say that, she knew about it beforehand. So, okay, so he goes into, they were talking about, well, why would somebody drive down that street if they were involved anyway? Wouldn't you want to go far away from where a crime is about to happen that you could be involved with? Very good point, right? Why go down the street? Wouldn't you want to stay far and clear to disassociate yourself from it, right? So, and then mentor lawyer says something like, it was weird. It was like, if Tuto and Tato had gotten caught, then my goal would be to shift focus away from myself by going down to the crime scene tape. That's what didn't make sense. So that by driving by, she would be acting kind of like a decoy. All right, maybe I didn't say that right. Let me rephrase that. So mentor lawyer brought up the idea that Tuto and Tato needed to be successful at this crime. So to let them do their thing and get out of Tallahassee unseen, the focus off of them, it's suggested that Wendy could have driven down Trescott to be like a decoy. Well, I don't know. Really? I think that's a real stretch, right? I mean, okay. And then, yeah. Another thing is going to the ABC liquor. Why couldn't you get your bullet bourbon after lunch? I mean, she said the Stock the Bar party was late at night. And hold on a second. You know what? I haven't even been looking at the comments, and I'm like, how you doing, Janine? Because I have no idea how this works, guys. I'm new to this, and Janine is new to this, and I made her moderator for this chat, and I have no idea even how to moderate. I'm just like, go ahead, be moderator. But anyway, thank you, Janine, for doing that for me. But I'm gonna start checking in with your comments in a minute because I'm wrapping up my notes here, and then we'll talk. Okay, so, okay, what was I saying? Okay, so the ABC Liquors. Why not go to ABC Liquors after your lunch? I mean, a Stock the Bar party, she clearly said it was tonight in the evening. And by the way, there was a woman, and I don't know their names, but there was a woman, an older woman, like in her 70s at the time or something like that, that was throwing the Stock the Bar party for her daughter, and I guess her fiance or husband. I don't know. I don't know if it was like a bridal thing or engagement thing. I have no idea. But apparently they had spoken to all of them. But the mother is no longer with us, unfortunately. And sadly, she has passed away. That's really sad. And so she's not available to be spoken to. But she was throwing the party at night. There was plenty of time. If lunch is at 1, even if you, like, I've sat at lunches with my girlfriends till like 4 o'clock, but even then, right? She's going to have to go get the boys with Dan. That's if she wasn't involved. She would have had to go get the boys with Dan at 4:30. And then, she probably would have gone home and finally showered and gotten herself dressed up for this Stock the Bar party, right? There's still time to stop on the way. Why fit in ABC Liquors that's out of the way and you're already running late for lunch? It makes no sense. Makes no sense. So, Detective Isom did say that he wished the real estate agent hadn't called first. He did give us that. He said if she had, implying that if she hadn't called, then I would have gotten a more truer reaction from Wendy when I let her know that Dan was in the hospital and had been shot. But that's not the case, right? The real estate agent called and we got to see. So if anything, it helps him because when you look at the video, play back the video, there is no concern when the real estate agent leaves her the message that there's been a shooting in Trescott. I mean, that is what you need. So I disagree with him. I'm glad she called first because you know what? He's not doing anything about it to point out any red flags. And we can see the red flags because she's not responding appropriately after she gets the voicemail. She, put two and two together, Wendy, right? You were just there. You saw tape. You saw police. You get to the station. You're acting stupid here. And then you play a voicemail message where your friend's saying there was a shooting. Okay, shooting, tape, police. No reaction. No reaction until she knows she has to react. It's because Isom is telling her officially that Dan has been shot and he's in the hospital and he's not going to make it. Which is so stupid. He should have left the door open to imply that he could still be alive. And she'd be crapping in her pants, and then all these phone calls would be happening to Donna, Charlie, and everybody and go, oh my gosh, he's still alive, right? Or something. Maybe go put on another owl t-shirt. I don't know. Something. All right. So, again, in the Geek Squad guy, how do you not know? You should know this case like by memory. Some of us know a lot of things about this case by memory. How does he not? Okay, so it was weird that the TV guy, she said the TV guy was there from 8 to 10. No, he was not there for 2 hours, people. No way. Yeah. He asked about refresher interviews. So have you ever thought about redoing interviews with people? He didn't really answer that. I was listening. I didn't hear him actually say, yeah, we're going to do that or anything like that. Wendy also said she told the TV guy the hitman joke. That's, why isn't that a red flag for you? He's just acting like lackadaisical. You guys know that word? Just like, yeah, whatever. Isom says that, she says the joke, that the joke she told, he feels that she told it because either she is so confident it isn't true, and it's such an outlandish thing that she felt no problem. I'll just tell him that the joke, was something that Charlie said, something that she mentions to the TV repair guy, that the only reason why she could say something like that is because she thinks it's so ridiculous and outlandish and feels confident nobody would ever believe that. But then he says, or she's saying it because she wants to divert the investigation away from her, right? And it works, right? It backfires. So, did I not say the word lackadaisical, right? All right. Okay, and then maybe you guys can help me out with this. Who watched the part 2 interview? Because I don't know if it's like just on my side, because nobody mentioned it in the comments of Mentor Lawyer's video. But around 52 minutes in, he starts talking about Jeff Lacasse to Isom, and then all of a sudden, the interview goes away, and there's like another 20 minutes of just Wendy's interview. So what happened to the rest of the interview with Isom? Did anybody see that? It was like really awkward. It was almost like there was an error in the way he uploaded the video or something. I don't know. Let me know. Okay, so now I'm all yours. Let's talk. I'm going to start going through your comments. Should I scroll up? I'm going to go from the bottom up or whatever. Let me see. Hope I didn't miss anybody here. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go up to top and work my way down. Don't worry, I'll get to you guys on the bottom. I'll go back and forth. And thank you for the likes and subscribing and sharing us. I'm just like so humbled by y'all. All right. You know what? Do me a favor, guys. If you have something like a really important comment to add, or you have a question, just put like a symbol real big, like a question mark symbol real big, or put the QQQ so I can see. Chrissy. Hey, Caroline. Hope you're doing well. Well, yeah, YN, but that's okay. I'm very disappointed in Isom so much that I couldn't finish part 2. Well, you know what? If you had gone to the end of part 2, I don't think there was anything there because I think something happened to that video. It didn't make sense to me. It like just abruptly changes to listening to Wendy all over again, and there was no more Isom. So I don't know what happened. Is Wendy having a love affair now? Dr. Shankar. I don't know. The word is she's with George Estrada, but I don't know at this moment what's going on with her. I don't. Thank you, Roxy. I so appreciate that. Wendy is a master gaslighter. Yep. Isom was so duped by Wendy and still is. Absolutely. Like, what is this man's problem? I don't get it. I'm like, I don't feel like he did his job. I don't. I think he blew it. And now to come out with it, you know, before she's even been indicted, to come out with it and come across as sympathetic. And then, you know, okay, you're holding some, you know, mentor lawyer says there's some things he won't talk about. But honestly, he like revealed his cards. I would be really mad if I was Georgia Kappelman right now. It just seemed as though, hi, Chrissy. It just seemed as though during the interview with Wendy, he was annoyed with even being there. Like he wanted to go back to having lunch with his wife. No urgency for Dan's life. Yeah, there was a little bit of just, yeah, whatever. I don't think, yeah, it didn't seem like there was an urgency at all. Let's see. Okay, let's see what we got. Jolie, if Isom doesn't believe Wendy tried to set up Jeff, why did Georgia present the rental car that looked like Jeff's car? So if Wendy is tried, this can't be used because Isom doesn't even believe it. Well, I don't know if he said that he doesn't believe it, but why isn't he screaming from the mountaintops, right? That on the first trip, they got a silver Nissan Sentra. He just must not be convinced that she had anything to do with that at all. But the thing is, they didn't live there. They didn't live in Tallahassee. Only Wendy did. The only way they would know about his car, I don't know. Look, I like to look at both sides of things, and I'm trying here, you know, for the other side. Could he have did they drive down to, when they went to visit Charlie and Katie and they went to the Yardbird? They went there for another work event and then they drove over. Did they rent a car? Did they fly? Did they take his Nissan Sentra? Maybe Charlie saw the Nissan Sentra at that time? I don't know. Watch a second time. My mind changed, or I could be adding part 3 to it. I will. I'll keep watching for sure. I think there is a part 3, and if someone can answer me, was the part 2? Was there something weird about it at about 52 minutes in? I'm curious if anybody else saw that, or maybe Mentor Lawyer doesn't like me. And somehow just the video I saw got cut off. I don't know. But I was really trying to be respectful by not playing his video. Let's see. Hey, see, Denise, let's keep the hope. Georgia has done interviews as well. This isn't the end. I sure hope you're right about that. I'm just feeling kind of bummy about these Isom interviews. Yep, Isom was bewildered by Wendy's batting eyelashes, LOL, or something. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, she kind of looked like crap that day, right? Wendy says in the interview, when we were in the car, I was trying to figure out if you suspected me. I think that's why she has to say now he told her in the car ride. Right. That is something that's been going around. I've been hearing that too. Yeah. Because she has to explain why she was just so nervous about it. But listen, guys, all you got to do is watch a couple 48 hours on ID or 2020 or, CSI. They always suspect the other significant other, even ex or current. Isom should have never had told Wendy that Dan had catastrophic brain damage, then wait and see if she slips up about him being shot in the head. Horrible, horrible investigation, horrible tactics. Thank you so much, Janine. You're doing a great job, girl. Melissa J. Richley says, and I totally agree that Wendy was dressed so poorly and not for lunch date. No matter how much time she said she had or not, she was planning on going by Dan's and finding him, period. I'm with you. My theory is, and I'll say it again, that she put into play a lunch date on purpose. So she had a place scheduled to go to. She, I think, was on, boxing things up. I think she was packing up and ready to go. I also think mentally she was not in a good place. I think there was too much going on that morning. I think the idea of I'm really going through with this with my family. Again, this is all my opinion. The fact that I'm actually going to be going through with this is so sweet. It's still, we know because Wendy gets like anxious and sick to her stomach a lot and everything. So her dressing up and like, even half decent to go have lunch with her friends, it was not supposed to happen. She was going to, I believe, make this frantic phone call. I can't make it to lunch, or she wouldn't show up at all and later have this, incredible, crazy story to tell her friends. I didn't make it to lunch. You're not going to believe it. I found Dan shot, I also think Donna, Charlie, and Wendy had no idea if it would be done in his car in the garage or if they were going to come to the front door, or maybe Dan would be out back, gardening or whatever. And nobody knew, but most people assume that, I think the majority of murders that happen, they're in their house, right? They either come through a back door or they knock on the door and they shoot him or whatever. And this is where they messed up. They never thought for a second that they were going to get him before he could even get out of his car in the garage. So that's why Donna made a damning statement to Robert Adelson on the phone when talking about the shooting of her ex-son-in-law, that he was shot at the front door. Right? Crazy. Yeah. Okay, another thing. So Jocelyn McCord says, so why did she tell Jane she had a delicious lunch? She lies about crap she didn't need to. Okay, so Jocelyn, how long when you order your food does it take for the food to get to the table? Now, yeah, there are some restaurants like Cracker Barrel where you'll order like the old timer, and you're like, okay, I'll have the old timer with a large orange juice and a coffee, right? And then you don't even look down, and like 2 seconds later, that plays right in front of you, right? Well, that does happen, but most places it takes like what? 10, 15 minutes for your food to come out. Sometimes they give you your drink first, or they give you an appetizer first, or whatever. But remember, her lunch was at 1 o'clock. She was running late, and Isom walks in at 1:15. So that leaves like no time. So she didn't even get to take, a morsel of for lunch? I don't even know if it was at the table. That'd be a good question for him. Was there food on plates at the table? You know, for us little nitpickers that want to like point out every lie, because honestly, the fact that she says delicious lunch is not going to be something that can be used in court. But for us, we're like, you didn't have your lunch. We know you didn't have your lunch, girl. All right. Oh my man, you guys are making me laugh. Okay. During mid-interview with Isom, Wendy is talking about Dan's new relationship. And wait, I'm sorry. During mid-interview with Isom, Wendy is talking about Dan's new relationship and his girlfriend. And Wendy says, I don't know how long they were dating even. Oh, wow. But then at that moment, she was told he wasn't going to make it. But even though she knew he wasn't going to make it, she's still using past tense. The guy hasn't even officially been declared dead yet, and you're using past tense. Very good point. All right, I'm still moving through these comments. I am so behind. I'm sorry, y'all. Do you want me to start at the bottom so I can see what you guys are talking about down here? Hold on. Thank you so much, MK Connecticut. Great job, Mom and Janine. I'm glad you got help. Thank you. Hey, listen, so I do have an email, momsforjustice@gmail. If you want to help me out and be a moderator, like I can rotate you guys, just send me an email there. And I can like put a group together and then I can send an email out. I'm doing a live on this date. Does anybody want to moderate? That'd be awesome. But okay, so the 2 says, no, a few of us believe Isom said he showed up at 2:15, not 1:15. It's in part 1 interview. Okay, and I played it back and I even wrote it down as he was saying it. There must be. All right, I'm going to go back and listen to it later and confirm, and then if he does a part 3, I'll come back and correct it. But I have here 1:15. And then even in part 2, he somewhat confirms that it is 1:15 because he said he wasn't in the station until like 2 something. Hold on a minute. I think I have notes here on that. Guys, I have 1:15 that he showed up. But I promise you that, you know, me being a human being, I do make mistakes and I will double check. But I really have a feeling that it is 1:15. Yes, I love this one. Raise the Road says, Wendy said it was a game changer that Dan was still alive. Do you guys remember that? She's like, well, that's a game changer. Yeah, it's a game changer because you're screwed. All right, let's see what we got here. My theory why Wendy appeared, hi Jolie. My theory why Wendy appeared visibly nervous is because Dan wanted to take the boys swimming. If Dan had the boys again, she knows the hitman wouldn't kill Dan. 18 minutes call to Charlie was about this. And yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And the other thing is you don't want your boys to cross paths with these hitmen that you have arranged, right? So now, but I said on the other day that I think that the fact that Dan wanted to take them swimming and she did not want to cooperate with him about it, he was still the parental guardian to those kids at 9, 10, 11 o'clock a.m. I would have been concerned that maybe he could go and pick up the boys from school and check them out early and then all the plans would change. Did anybody ever think about that? I'm just wondering what you guys think about that. Hello. Hey, Richard, how are you? Can you imagine eating lunch after you know that your ex has been shot? psychopath. Well, right. That's for all of us who believe that she knows. Right, exactly. How can you sit there and stomach your lunch? Well, that's because she's psycho and she was excited. And the whole day was just so sweet for her. Hey, Kylie, how are you, girl? I think that Charlie had to talk her down for 18 minutes, even the way she portrays the conversation being about what she should do about the TV. Yeah, and even Isom says, nobody replaces a TV nowadays. Nobody. Nobody does. The two says, my ex was a homicide detective. Where was the second cop? Good guy, bad guy. Yeah, I agree with that. Isom took this on by himself and missing many flags. Would have been better with another in the room with him. Yeah, how about the guy that's watching her in another room? Why can't you switch out? Let Isom sit there and whatever, have a candy bar and watch her on the screen. I think the other guy would have done a better job. Yeah, I don't know why everyone involved in the case feels the need to do interviews before Wendy's arrest. I just think it was really like if you wanna send a message, that's the way you do it, right? What is the message you're trying to send there? Why do that? I'm a little disappointed that Mentor Lawyer put it up. Oh, there's a super chat here. Did I? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, yeah, yep, I said it. I like your handle. That's so funny. Yep, I said it. Are they bringing out Isom to smoke Wendy out? It's feeling Vietnam. Get her to drop her guard. Okay, that's interesting. Let's think about this. Would that give her comfort and calm her down by watching these interviews with Isom? Maybe. Right? Maybe. What do you guys think? Does it do more damage or does it help? Okay, so there was a glitch in Mentor Lawyer's video. So is he under the impression that the rest of the part 2 or there was more Isom interview in there? I'm wondering because maybe we need to let him know because I looked in the comments and nobody said anything to him. I should have said something. Yeah. So Tattletale says the interview looks like this case is over. Very odd. That was my first impression for sure. Mentor Lawyer does a lot of funny editing and does switch to trial footage. Okay. You guys are awesome. You know what? You guys are doing a better job than Detective Craig Isom. Oh my gosh. I love this one. I was laughing when Wendy says the liquor store guy commented on her blue eyes, and Isom says they're contacts, right? LOL. He can be observant. Right. He knows how to do that. How narcissistic are you to point out your fake blue eyes? Like, does she even have, like, is she one of those girls like, all right, it was a big trend. I'm 51 in case didn't anybody notice this, but back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, everybody was getting the colored contacts and changing their eye color. And it's just such a dated thing to do. Actually, nobody does it anymore than I know of. But anyway, you were either that girl that had brown eyes like me that wanted to change the color completely, or you had blue eyes and you just wanted to make them more blue. Does anybody know what her original eye color is? Excuse me. Hey, K-Love. So if you look right now at this video, just underneath the title and the video, the shop is right there. My merchandise is right there. Just click on it. It'll open up the whole store and you can see hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, the whole 9 yards. So thank you so much. Take a peek and see if you like the stuff. I love this one. Okay, Claudia, Wendy does not date. She hunts. This is great. Okay, let me scrolling back down to the bottom so I don't ignore you people on the bottom. Okay. Yeah, really good point. So it's very easy to conjure up tears in that moment. All you got to do is think about the fact that you know how much your kids love Dan. I mean, everybody talked about how much these kids love Dan. And that in itself, you can like, get those tears built up. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much. Somebody asked me the other day and I was like, Abilene? It's in the drugstore. It's super cheap. My mother swears by it. It's like a glycerin makeup remover / cleanser / moisturizer. You don't need anything else. And I've been using it since I was little. And it's like $9 for this huge tub and it lasts a whole year. You don't need anything else. Hot water, washcloth, and some Abilene. And then, some good lighting. Ugly eyes. Nobody has ugly eyes. I don't believe in ugly eyes. You probably have beautiful eyes, Chelsea. Okay, let's see. Georgina Biggs. Danny was going to take the children to Wendy's house at 4:30 after he took them swimming. So sorry, guys. I have like a tickle in my throat. This comes out in Donna's trial after text we knew nothing about came out. Right. Okay. Which I think, even then she could have easily thought that maybe that Dan could go pick up the kids early. That's what I don't know. I did that all the time. Like, surprise my kids on a Friday. This was a Friday. Show up and, you see your babies and they see your face at like, walk in a couple hours early and they're like, Mommy. And you're like, I'm checking you out early. We're going to go swimming. I could have totally seen that happen. That's why I think she drove by. That was part of the reason why I think she drove by. She was so jealous of Amy. Absolutely. Dana says she was so jealous of Amy. Yeah, because she was like, she even admitted it, she's like giggling. I was looking her up. You know what I mean? And some women came at me about it and said, of course you're going to look up who your ex is dating. Okay, right. But would you look up her brother too? And her ex-husband? No, you would not. You'd look up just the woman. You'd want to see pictures of her and go, all right, who's he shacking up with now, right? But you wouldn't go looking up the brother and the ex-husband. Okay, the brother is famous. I get that. That's interesting in itself. But the ex-husband? No, I wouldn't be looking up the ex-husband. Where are we going with Donna's new trial request? So we're waiting. Obviously, they're going to have a hearing about this new claim that she has, that she should get a new trial. I honestly don't think anything's going to pan out from it. That's my opinion. I think they're going to have a hearing and it's going to get thrown out. There's no way she's getting a new trial. Yeah, so filing a motion for fraud was about to happen by Stephen Webster on the 18th, on the day of the murder. This was supposed to happen. She was scared. These were serious charges that Dan and Stephen were about to bring onto Wendi Adelson. And he goes into great detail about that. In fact, I'm going to put up a a quick video, like a commentary video, playing a video, not the one from SCS, but I have another one of his, and I don't know if everybody's seen that one, but I feel like playing it because I really like it. So I'm going to do that real quick, probably by tomorrow, and I'll put it up for you guys. We could watch it together. Something to talk about with broken justice. She's used to getting her way, and she throws a fit if she doesn't, and that's why everybody just gives into her and lets her do it. Dan didn't. Right. Dan didn't let her get away with that. I do think he was very broken up by the fact that she was leaving him at first, and I think he was willing to do anything to get her back. And that was set in stone. I mean, she had decided long before she left him that there was nothing Dan could do. Nothing. She had decided, I'm done with you. But you're right. She's used to getting her way. She is privileged. She is the only female child. The youngest, the baby, just always getting her way, was always on top, the golden girl. It's just, I think eventually Dan was like, okay, you want to play hardball with me? I tried everything to do the right thing and be a parent with you and stay together for the sake of our children. And you don't want to even try. I think the counseling was just to say XYZ, check the boxes. We went to counseling so that it would make her look good when she goes to court for custody reasons and all that. But she wasn't going to work on the marriage in counseling, clearly. I mean, she hated him. She hated him, I believe, the day of her wedding. I mean, she didn't want to marry him, and she spoke about this in that writing class radio, that it was a loveless marriage. I'm paraphrasing, but she said something like, I lacked passionate love for this man. But I thought that, this is what you do. Again, paraphrasing. I thought this is what you do. You marry, you have children, and that's just what comes next. Well, how naive can you be? Donna picked that man for you. You wanted a money-making machine. You wanted prestige. I've always said I believe that seeing that he was a very smart criminal law was his specialty, right? That they thought Johnny Cochran, Alan Jackson, the next Alan Jackson, right? I think that's what they wanted. I think that's what Donna wanted, probably even more than Wendy. And as much as I celebrate his profession as a professor of law, which is an amazing profession. There's like, my husband is in a line of work where not only is he good at what he does, but he's also a mentor, a teacher to others underneath him. And there's just something so valuable about that the feeling you get where you can share knowledge with people and further their career is so incredibly rewarding. And for Dan Markel, I really believe that was more important to him than being some high-powered criminal law attorney making all this money. And you know what? Sadly, that was not enough. That was not enough. I can see Wendy skipping the USA. Yeah. Maybe. But I actually think the fact that there's no indictment now, because I think the window of time of her being scared is probably now lessening or did that make sense? Okay, so after Donna got convicted based on the history of this case, other people have gotten convicted and then an arrest happens again after that. Well, we all kind of thought maybe an arrest was going to happen within, a week or two of Donna being found guilty, because that's what happened with Charlie regarding Donna. Now some time has gone by. People get complacent. People get comfortable. Okay, they're not coming after me. I'm okay. No one's arresting me. So now I'm just really concerned that, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're, not enough on her? They're not going to come out for her? Oh, I have to share this post. Net Detective, I just thought of the song Surfing USA by the Beach Boys. I have a 15-year-old daughter that is obsessed with Elvis and the Beach Boys. Okay? Obsessed. Oh, wait. I'm just realizing. Are you saying that because of the Beach Boys album picture I have behind me? Probably. Okay. So, what do you guys think? I'm going to do a couple more opinions. Any other questions, drop them here, because then I'm going to, I'll probably sign off in a couple minutes. But I just want to make sure I get to all ears. My opinion, Wendy did not want Dan to pick up the boys because what if the hot men messed up that morning and needed another oh, the hitman. Like the hot men, where? Okay. Oh, that's so cute. Okay. Wendy did not want Dan to pick up the boys because what if the hitmen messed up that morning? Wait. And needed another opportunity later in the day. That's a really good point. I like hot men better. Oh no, you're not blocked, Lily. What'd you do? Did you do something bad and you think you're blocked? You're not blocked, I promise. All right, the feed is choppy today. Is there something you can do? Oh, it is? What's going on with the feed? Can somebody tell me what's going on? Did the grand jury meet last Wednesday to discuss the case? I know the grand jury was supposed to meet, but I don't know what about, and I don't think we're even privy to that knowledge, so I really don't have any information with you about that. Yeah, I hope the prosecution gets going on this soon because I'm starting to lose a little bit of hope here with this Isom interview that just came out. Do you think Georgia is waiting until Donna gets sentenced to arrest Wendy? I have no idea. I think Georgia wants to arrest Wendy as soon as possible. I don't know what the holdup is. I think it's Jack Campbell. I don't think, because Georgia really, honestly, she can't do nothing without Jack Campbell letting her know that it's okay. She's got to get the indictment from the grand jury, right? Show me the hot men. Okay. I'm almost going to wrap up here. Oh, wait. Let me get a question from Anna. Please share more info on the Aveline stuff. You mentioned police. Okay, hold on. Guys, don't leave me just because I'm showing a lady something, okay? I just want to show them a picture of it so that they know what it is. Hold on. All right, ready? This is Aveline. It is a facial cleanser makeup remover, $9.74. You can get it at Walmart, and it is the bomb. And I'm telling you right now, you will thank me. You don't need anything else. Okay? That's that. Okay, I won't bore the men with this, so I'm going to come back. Okay. All right. When is the next grand jury? I heard they meet like once or twice a month. Yup. Are you talking about Wendy? She gave them a quick kiss and a hug as she was leaving the courtroom. Yeah, clearly she has a relationship with Harvey. She does. Yes. Okay. You probably said this before I got to it because I'm so behind on the feed. But yes, Isom does not decide indictments. Georgia does not decide the indictments. It's Jack Campbell that does. Well, he decides what goes to the grand juries to get an indictment. Okay. Does that make sense? Jack Campbell decides when you have enough information and something to bring to the grand jury. He's got to pull the trigger on that in order for Georgia to present this to the grand jury. Thank you so much, Goody Gumdrops. I love your name. That's so cute. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. So if you rewind this in my last live, you'll be able to hear, my opinions on all those interviews. But that's what we were talking about today. Okay. No, Patty's Playhouse has a friend who's on the grand jury. Yeah, but I doubt that they're allowed to tell her anything, right? All right. Okay. So I love you guys. It was so fun to have a live with you today. And I'm going to be back on. I'm doing a show Monday night with Jocelyn. We will do a quick live together. And then I also have a video coming out on Courtney Clenny. I still have a part 2 on Wendy and her men. That's not done yet. And then I also am going to be doing one on Charlie. So keep a lookout for that. Please subscribe, like, and share. The merch store is underneath this video. You can see it right there if you're interested. And I just so appreciate you all spending a Saturday afternoon with me. And I will see you very, very soon, right? Very, very soon. Okay. Take care.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.